other interesting business news, 7-Eleven is closing over 400 locations, which is interesting. I thought the only things more prevalent than 7-Eleven locations were Starbucks and grains of sand in the desert, because darn near can't go a couple blocks without seeing a 7-Eleven these days. But it looks like they're going to start decreasing the headcount of those stores. This comes to us thanks to the Daily Mail, which appropriately named is called the Daily Mail because it's about the Daily Mail. But one of those things was also done by Lauren Action Taylor. She says, quote, popular convenience store chain 7-Eleven is set to close over 400 locations. There you can see the iconic 7-Eleven logo, which, I mean, their claim to fame back in the day was open 7 days a week for 11 hours, which, I mean, at the time was, it's kind of cool to think now, but at the time was revolutionary. No convenience store did that ever. I mean, shoot, back in the United States when you had more of a religious foundation, most every store closed on Sunday, and a lot of stores, I mean, the stores are actually closed by sunset. It's fascinating and a little disappointing to see kind of the cultural business shifts around, businesses these days in the United States, where the only companies that really close on Sunday these days are ones that are very much religious oriented. I think off the top of my head, I can name Hobby Lobby. And then, of course, you do have some laws around, automotive companies or dealerships where they call them, forget this specific vernacular, but a lot of them are only allowed to operate 6 days a week. So a lot of them choose Sunday to be closed. But yeah, some rarer and rarer things these days. Now, they say, quote, the parent company of 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven & I Holdings, based in Japan, announced that the chain will close about 444 underperforming stores across North America. 7 & I found that part of their earnings report that varied issues changing in consumer habits, resulting in store closing. They said that pullback in consumer spending has persisted beyond prior expectations, unfortunately. Well, there you can see one of those iconic store angles there. Now, it's noted that their earnings report revealed that inflation was one of the major influences, saying that from 2019, geez, this is heartbreaking, but it's true. Since 2019, rent, utilities, and groceries and fuel have all risen more than 25%, which, yeah, remember when the U.S. was energy independent for the first time in 60 plus years? Gas was under $2 a gallon. Those are the days. It's funny. Not on the calendar that long ago, but feels like a lifetime ago. Now, they say that, quote, in their earnings report, they noted that, quote, the North American economy remained robust overall thanks to the consumption of high-income earners, despite a persistent inflationary, elevated interest rate, and deteriorating employment environment. In this approach, there is a more prudent approach to consumption, particularly among middle and low-income earners, they added, which I would guess in terms of demographics of who shops at 7-Eleven is not exactly millionaires, since, especially for people who are penny pitchers, including myself, the only scenario where I actually go to a convenience store is if I'm with a client, or that's about it. If I had a client or a business partner, they wanted something to drink, I'd of course, facilitate their need. But yeah, one of those things where you look at the cost of convenience, and everyone knows it, but I don't think people actually statistically look at the delta, or the difference in price points, going from a consumer bulk purchase to like a 7-Eleven individual purchase of a product. It's so insane. And I don't think I've actually gone there like alone in a couple decades. Like if I have a road trip where I'm, working on the road, I just take 5 extra minutes to throw some ice in a cooler, throw that in passenger seat, and throw in some coffee or protein bars in there and call it a day. Which of course you buy those in bulk at the good old Walmart or any big major box store. So yeah, and especially these unprecedented economical, political uncertainty in the United States, there's nothing you need in a convenience store. Literally nothing. It's literally just like, take a little bit more time in your day to plan, and you can avoid paying the premium for all the things that are inside those stores. Again, when it comes to gas stations, they don't make hardly any money on gas. I believe it's even less than 2% profit. It's all about the convenience, all about the things inside, which are much more profitable. Now, they say, quote, consumer habits began focusing more on quality of products or less, revealing consumers report, revealing that 69% of shoppers wanted more quality products and 60% focused on good value for the money, which, again, when you're paying for convenience, you're paying that huge premium because it's right there and then. They say, quote, the report revealed that traffic in North America locations has fallen 7.3% in August after the company experienced a consecutive 6 months of declining traffic, which, geez, that is a death trap for retail. One of the biggest metrics for every retail establishment is getting people in the door, because, shoot, that's half the battle these days in terms of combating e-commerce. And another issue is, how many people are getting in? What's the return of the foot traffic? I mean, even Starbucks is struggling with that past couple of fiscal quarters, and hopefully the new CEO will be able to successfully turn things around. But yeah, when the foot traffic drops that much, that's rough. Man, 7.3%. They said that the company also noted a shift in cigarette sales, which saw a 26% decrease in total packs sold from 10,300 million in 2019 to 7,600 million in 2024. Now, they noted that the decline was not saved by consumers opting for different options, with only an 18% shift to other nicotine products and other buyers switching to more cheaper products, which I know pretty much, it seems like for a New York Minute, every darn podcast on the planet over the summer is sponsored by Zyn or subsidiaries in, because that's all they freaking talk about, those little things, which, to each their own if you prefer those things. But yeah, in terms of cigarette sales, the United States is dying. It's a dying industry. Dark humor, pun somewhat intended. You just look at all, and it's not just one cigarette manufacturer. It's not just 7-Eleven. Overall, smoking rates in the United States is sharply declining of traditional tobacco products. In other countries, they are greatly increasing. So overall, that industry has been overall okay, especially they're requiring. I mean, it's kind of funny. Look at Altria, which is the biggest brand or holding. It's the cool hip name that's behind RJ Reynolds and all basically other cigarette brands you see at the store. I mean, their whole website is smoking alternatives. That's their mantra of what they brag about. And they're making huge investments in those other things. And I mean, those things are going viral. But yeah, it's interesting to see the shifts in the United States in terms of tobacco preferences. And the bad thing about that, especially for these stores, is those are, they used to be pre-consistent buyers and pretty good profit. Because again, these stores make basically no profit on gasoline. It adds up in the aggregate, kind of like groceries. They only make 2% for that industry. It's rough for a traditional grocery store. But again, over time, the aggregate, it does add up. But when it comes to individual quick purchases, they want the convenience to stuff. They want to go inside their, like there's no tomorrow. So they see, and it's interesting, it's not pivoting to the other non-smoking tobacco products to pivot from it. So it's also indicating that people are just decreasing that purchase category in general, which also makes sense. It's one of the easiest things to cut during hard times, just economically. No one needs tobacco. I understand it's an addictive substance. I know it can be very difficult to quit. I'm not trying to, downplay that in any means necessary. But it's one of those things where you definitely don't need it to survive. It's very easy to. It's one of those things where you look at your budget, and like, it's not food, it's not water, it's not rent. That's something where you just take it out of Sharpie, or shoot, it's a tough economy. The off-branded, Walmart branded Sharpie, just scratch it out of the budget and put that money somewhere else. Now, they know that while there's 13,000 stores across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, the closures have, I'm sorry, I should have said Canada. The store closures made up only 3% of the portfolio. The chain has over 21,000 stores located in Japan, which, yeah, it is, it's just almost unfathomable how many locations there are in Japan. I mean, I almost wonder how many other stores are there. There's so many of them. Now, the spokesperson for 7-Eleven told the Daily Mail, aligned with our long-term revenue growth strategy, we continually review and optimize our portfolio to deliver convenience where customers know and want it. As part of this, we made the decision to optimize the number of non-core assets that do not fit with our growth strategy. At the time, we continue to open source in areas where consumers are looking for more convenience. They know that the closures are expected to deliver $30 million in operating income benefit this year and $110 million boost to annualized run rate, according to the earnings release. Which part of me also debates. I mean, how many of these locations are competing with each other? GameStop was notorious for this a couple years back when, shoot, I swear you'd have a GameStop across the street from GameStop. It was almost that comical. And one of the reasons GameStop is close to many stores all the time is they're just oversaturated. They opened way too many stores, and they were literally taking sales away from each other. Now, in this case, kind of interesting. Look at the comments here. One of the first comments said, this comes from someone by the name of Just Another Voice. He says, quote, I virtually stopped going to 7-Eleven because of the service issues. Several had no coffee or cold coffee in the carafes. The machines are supposed to make fresh coffee or espresso were out of service. I got 94 upvotes and 5 downvotes. Which, yeah, of all the things I expect to have at 7-Eleven, I would want hot coffee to be like the number one or number two thing I would expect from a convenience store. I mean, how would you having cold? I mean, that's just unacceptable. Having cold coffee, like, and we're not talking about iced coffee. It's a different category. Like your hot drip coffee is cold. It's almost a joke that McDonald's has no ice cream. They have like 13 working ice cream units in North America. Like, you expect it not to work if you go to McDonald's. But if you go to 7-Eleven, you expect that thing to work. It's like the core of what they do. You want that coffee. Yeah, somebody named Step Cold Trip says, is underperforming actual code language for those located where stealing is so pervasive that the stores are losing money in areas like California? Well, yeah, that's a good point as well. They got 485 upvotes and 28 downvotes, which, when you don't prosecute crime, you get a lot more of it, and that's the reason many businesses are fleeing California like the plague. A lot of them just cannot make a profit there, as well as the issue of having to worry about customer as well as employee safety. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was a contributing factor to some of these locations. But yeah, it's very interesting to see 7-Eleven pivot away from these. Overall, I suspect maybe in a couple of years the numbers will increase as it put new. I do have sneaking suspicion these are stores are cannibalizing each other's sales. And it's, it's very unfortunate because, a lot of these employees, they're losing their jobs. Hopefully they're able to find gainful employment with competitors in the short term or, very soon. But I remember I think the last time I went to 7-Eleven, I think I was in Austin for a work road trip and I filled up the car with gas. I'm trying to think of the last time I actually went inside a 7-Eleven. Let me know in the comments, actually. When's the last time you actually went to 7-Eleven? Did you actually, enjoy an experience? And is it one of your favorite, if not the favorite convenience store? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.